The story begins with the boy Ash, a simple young man with no experience in anything. He returned from work and everything was fine, and the next day he woke up and went to work again, but he felt something strange. Yes, he put his hand on his heart and suddenly his sense disappeared completely, suffering a cardiac arrest and dying instantly, but suddenly he finds himself opening his eyes again, thinking he's in the hospital and that's his nurse. But what is it? Why is there a flying dog in the room? Is he dreaming or what? Soon our hero realizes that he has moved to another world, and when he looks at himself in the mirror he discovers that he has become a small child who understands nothing about life. He soon learns that he has been reborn in this world and it looks like he will turn the situation upside down. 3 years pass, during which time he learns to read and write, living a luxurious life surrounded by servants and guards everywhere. Luckily for him he was born in the kingdom of Asura, specifically in a town called Darien, which is ruled by his father, and he is the ruler of the town. Over time Ash descends into the training ground to follow the soldiers training himself. Meanwhile he observes 2 soldiers training together, but one clearly assaults the other, so Ash looks at him and activates his mysterious ability. Here we discover that he has the ability to evaluate, which enables him to determine the level of skills of anyone in front of him and to know his strengths and weaknesses. Ash discovers that this soldier is not talented in close combat, but he is very skilled in using a bow and arrows, so he goes to him and tells him, why don't you try using a bow? And the soldier hesitates at first because he has never used a bow before, but decides to try it based on Ash's words. When he aims at the target the arrow is fired and hits with extreme precision, and he repeats the experiment again and hits the target again, and the soldiers gather around him in amazement, shouting to him, "Oh my God!" When someone asks how did you know he was talented in archery, Ash replies with a smile, just a feeling. After a while Ash has lunch with his father, Governor Raven, who admires his ability to discover talent but warns him that the coming days will be difficult as the kingdom may enter many wars and conflicts, and he is asked to prepare well for this stage, and Ash responds with approval. One day while wandering around town Ash notices a young man lying on the ground while being bullied by others, and he discovers that this boy is from the race of the 2 kings, a race treated as slaves and sold in the markets. So getting angry Ash approaches him and gives him food, then discovers that his name is Rex. After Rex eats he tries to leave, but Ash rushes after him, tells him that he is Governor Raven's son and wants to make him his vassal, and Rex refuses at first, but when Ash promises him that he will get the food he dreams of if he joins him he changes his mind and accepts. When Ash asks his father to allow Rex to live in the palace the ruler strongly refuses, especially when he learns that he is of the race of the 2 kings, but Ash insists that Rex has terrifying abilities and one day he may be as powerful as his father, and the governor quipped, "This is nonsense, I'll test it myself and if he can touch me just once I'll let him join us, but if it fails I don't want to see it again." And Ash agrees to the challenge, confident that Rex will succeed despite the huge difference in strength between them. The fight begins, with Raven attacking hard while Rex tries to dodge his blows but realizes he's facing a real monster, and Rex takes a blow that knocks him down, but he looks at Ash and remembers his confidence in him, and he stands up again showing unprecedented determination. Then he attacks with all his might and with a sudden blow he manages to hit a hair from Raven's head, and in doing so he passes the test. And the ruler recognizes his talent and even praises Ash's ability to discover talent. After a period of training and study Ash tells his friend Rex about the history of the kingdom and how it was originally 7 countries that were unified by King Asura, but he died and his son took over the rule despite being just an 8-year-old child, which made a group of thieves control the kingdom's decisions, and Ash knows that the kingdom will soon collapse, so he decides to gather a group of talented people around him in preparation for that day. Rex suggests they walk around town in search of talented individuals, and while wandering Ash hears a man calling him out at the market offering to buy rare dragon eggs at a fantastic price, and Ash is about to accept but Rex intervenes, puts his dagger on the seller's neck and tells him, "You're a crook, no one like you can have that number of dragon eggs, also real dragon eggs do not contain these stains, these are just giant lizard eggs." Rex tries to punish him but Ash stops him and takes him away, and later while wandering through the market he is robbed by a mysterious person, but Rex quickly chases him and catches him only to discover that he is a beautiful girl, but she runs to an alleyway and they follow her only to find that she is surrounded by a gang of criminals beating her. So Ash intervenes in anger but a gangster tries to attack him and Rex confronts him easily, then pounces on the rest of the gang like a ninja, and kills them with quick blows. At this moment Ash does his ability again but is stunned, as the abilities of this girl are not normal at all but exceed all expectations despite her young age, and Ash asks her to join them but she refuses, saying I'd rather die than be a follower of a spoiled child like you Ash, so he kept trying to convince her that he was willing to do anything for her to agree. And indeed she told him I agree but on the condition you have to remove the rich people's contempt for people like me, stop looking at us as slaves, and most importantly eliminate street hunger. And she took out the money and threw it at them saying take this money and get out of here quickly. Ash said to her but people have been beating you a little while ago and I'm worried about you, and she told him that a nobleman had kidnapped her and wanted to sell her but she managed to escape from him, causing him to send criminals after her to return her to him. And at this moment a group of orphans ran towards her and we learned that her name was Jade and that she was caring for these children and fighting the hunger that could kill them at any moment. Ash was deeply moved and gave her all the money he had, saying I hope you take it and we will surely meet again, and upon returning to the palace he sat alone feeling very sad for Jade and the children living on the street, and Rex tried to relieve him, but suddenly they heard a voice calling out to them. Yes, it was the kids who were with Jade and they came to ask for his help, as they learned that the gang had arrested Jade again and it seems that this will indeed be the end of it. She was taken to the gang leader's house, thrown to the ground and the gang members began to mock her and brutally beat her, and Jade couldn't even move from her place. Then the gang leader said stop hitting her face, this will reduce her price, and Jade tried to take her money and run away but they beat her again and threw her to the ground again, and she remembered the orphan children but she couldn't do anything. Same to you. Do you think this is the end of it? Suddenly the door shattered above their heads and Ash appeared in the place, and one of the gang members tried to attack Rex but he easily eliminated him and then completely destroyed the gang, and Ash then turned to the gang leader and told him either you let Jade go or you'll regret it. When the leader realized that Ash was the son of a nobleman he was frightened and said to him why defend her, people like you buy and torture them just for fun, and even Jade seemed surprised, telling him why would you put your life at risk for me, I don't understand what you're doing, so Ash said to her don't worry. We're not like them, don't be afraid for me, nothing will happen to me. Then he turned to Rex and said to him eliminate them, and Rex couldn't believe what he heard so he set out to kill the gang without hesitation. Two tried to attack him with the magic of fire but he turned into a ghost among them and immediately wiped them out, and the boss of the gang realized that it had become dangerous so he summoned their most powerful criminal and told him if you get rid of them I will give you big money, and Jade was scared of the criminal but Ash reassured her don't worry we're safe, and the criminal stupidly attacked Rex but suddenly disappeared and then reappeared eliminating their most powerful criminal easily, and the leader was horrified and said the governor of the city allows the slave trade, I don't understand why you are doing this, and Rex said to him quietly simple, take this money and consider that I bought it, and Rex then told the leader you have two choices, either you take the money and don't tell anyone what happened or I'll cut off your tongue to make sure you never speak again, and the leader was terrified and said without money too, I agree. Ash then went to Jade and took her with him, and along the way Jade chose different paths so no one would recognize them, and they reached the city limits and the place was very desolate, and Rex took out a magic tool then said to Jade try using your magical skills, and she said but I've never used magic before and I don't even know how to start, so Rex replied well I'll teach you some spells now, try them. Indeed Jade began to cast the spell and a vortex of flames broke out in the place and suddenly a huge explosion shook the entire city, and Ash and Rex were shocked and no one believed what had happened in front of him, and Jade was very happy. At the time Jade asked Ash will you provide me with food and shelter now that I have joined you, and Ash said to her yes and you will also get a salary, but Jade refused saying I don't want a salary, I just want you to send any money to the orphan children, they have no one but me to take care of them, and she then thanked him for everything he had done for her and promised him that she would do her best to help him. When they arrived at the mansion Raven met them at the door and when he saw Jade he refused to let her in, saying what is this, do you intend to include a vagabond in our team, so Ash then asked him to see Jade's power and she showed off her magic in front of him, and when he saw her incredible power he told her your room is inside on the right. Years passed, 3 years later Raven came back from a battle telling them we won thanks to Jade, yes the girl has grown up. Her strength has evolved into a super imaginative and her presence in the team has turned the tide of any battle, and we also learned that Ash now has twin brothers. At that time Rex called Ash and told him that there was a family of very skilled fishermen on the border of the village, and Ash was very happy and he took Rex and Jade with him and they went to them quickly, and suddenly they saw a pig running around and then one of the arrows hit it and it was hunted, and the two hunters ran towards them to apologize as the arrows were not supposed to be fired in the presence of people nearby. Ash looked at them and realized that they were exactly the target they wanted, the family of fishermen he was looking for, so he went with them to their house where their father gave them food and was very happy that Ash the son of the village governor had come to them, and Ash wasted no time but asked them to join his team to become village soldiers, and the father was very happy and said to his children, finally your dream has come true. By the way, the one on the right is called Mark, who is the eldest, and the one in the middle is called Otto's, who is the younger brother. Then the father tells Ash, I'm really proud of you despite your age, you are talented and strive to preserve the village unlike Zane, and when he asks him who is this he replies that he has a younger son who is almost the same age as him but he is a failure, a coward and has no pride, and at that time Zane enters to greet them and he is very shy as usual, so Ash does the assessment skill on him and he asks what exactly is this. His strategic skills have reached the rank of S despite his young age but his intelligence is beyond imagination. Ash is surprised and asks Zane to join them as well, so the young man thinks that he will enter into wars and fights as he is afraid of his imagination in the first place, so he refuses and runs hiding in his room, closing the door on himself. And the father then apologizes to Ash and tells him that Zane has always been introverted and has been sitting alone since his mother's death and that unlike his brothers he is a failure and a coward, and Ash tells him, shut up, you don't understand anything. Your son has a talent that deserves full respect. He enters Zane's room and tries to talk to him, and the young man is scared at first but Ash notices that he likes to read, so he tells him that if he joins them he will take him to their palace library which contains all the books he wishes, and Zane says to him okay, and in fact he takes them and goes home and then says to Jade after that take Mark into the training place, while he takes Zane and takes him to the library and tells him live teacher and if you need anything let Rex, and after a while he returns to him again, and to his surprise Zane lies on the ground after finishing reading a large number of books, and Ash activates the assessment skill and observes something very strange. Zane's abilities have increased in just a few hours and the boy he understands nothing. Ash stands with Rex and Jade and says I want to prove Zane's abilities to his family, specifically to his father. What you want, he replies, a very amazing idea. Ash gathers everyone in the forest and says to Zane I want you to hunt us some animals but without weapons, and Zane says okay while his brothers remain shocked. It wasn't long before we saw the greatness. The father finds one of the strategic traps has been set in the place and a huge number of animals have been hunted. In addition Zane placed herbs to keep mothers and young from falling into the trap for the sake of ecological balance, and also designed places that allow the young to get out of the trap in case any child enters by mistake. And this is exactly what happens when genius and creativity come together. The father stands shocked and does not believe that Zane is whoever did it, but contrary to expectations his father does not express any reaction, telling Ash I hope you take them and come back again, be careful with them, and then leaves them and leaves. What exactly is the story and why was the father's action strange? At that time Zane is so sad that he goes to lock himself in his room and reflect on his painful memories. On the other hand we see the father standing on the roof with Mark and Otto's, and when asked why he replies he always treated Zane badly and despite being a father he could not discover his son's skills or stand by him, and I feel very negligent, I can't even look him in the eye. And of course Zane listened to all these words and was deeply moved knowing how remorseful his father was. The next day it's time to leave as the older brothers say goodbye to their father to leave, and Zane comes out second but he doesn't say goodbye to anyone present, and suddenly he comes back and talks to his father while he is cutting wood saying you never fell short with me but you didn't give me the opportunity to prove myself and I promise to make you extremely proud of me. And when the father hears these words he is very moved and bids farewell to his son as well. At that time the brothers gather and thank Ash very much, promising him that they will do what they can to help him. Years pass, Ash has grown up, King Raven is tired, and we know that they will get into battle within the next 2 days because the town's governor is dead. The king is not such a thing but the governor, and what is important is that the ruler abdicated to his youngest son from the rule, and despite the approval of the eldest son some villains have caused strife and ignited a war between them, and the neighboring town is helping, and it is impossible for corrupt rulers to send their soldiers for the purpose of occupation. Raven wanted to extinguish the flames of war in this way, but suddenly he gave up all of that and told Ash, I want you to prepare yourself for your speeches, and Ash replies, there is no time for that right now, the world is on fire and it seems that you are about to say goodbye, and prepare yourself son, no more time, says Raven, and he agreed with a nobleman to send his daughter to the palace so that she could get to know Ash. The young man rushes into the team saying he has a big problem, and when they know that Raven wants to get engaged they rejoice in him. Suddenly the maid reports the arrival of the bride's procession, and in fact he goes out to receive her outside and frankly finds her like a daughter of the moon. For example, her name is Lyra. And when Ash activates the assessment skill on her, a voice appears indicating that the girl has high diplomatic abilities and is not the worst ambassador, but he doubts her intentions and thinks about who exercises authority over her. Lyra talks to Ash in a very nice way and then they sit down to eat together. She thanks him for the warm reception and hospitality and asks him to walk with her outside the town, and when he tells her it's raining and she thinks she can't go out, she tells him count to 3, and suddenly the rain stops and the sun rises again, and Ash is surprised and thinks that Lyra is controlling the weather, but later discovers that it was raining when it came, and when she saw the clouds she was able to calculate the time of the rain disappearing accurately and brilliantly. Later they go out for walks together in the village and suddenly we find two people embracing, and at the same time Zane and Jade reach them, and Jade wants to solve the problem in her own way but Lyra prevents her, so she goes to them and solves the problem completely in less than seconds, which amazes Ash. After the day is over they come home, and that night Lyra says to him, if I ask you a question would you answer honestly? He replies absolutely, and then asks him what is the main reason why you might love the one in front of you. He gets a little confused but answers, the thing that makes me love the one in front of me the most is not to be a liar, not to hide anything from me, because he still doubts her. And Lyra says to him, I promise I won't hide anything from you, then you let go and go. In the evening he goes into his room to sleep, and when he lifts the lid he finds Lyra in front of him and he gets a little scared and screams, and she tells him calm down, I wouldn't have been able to sleep if I hadn't asked you another question. She pours him tea and says give me what you have, and then continues, I want to know your opinion honestly, because she's sure something went wrong and can't understand why he behaved with her this way. And here Ash admits to her the truth, saying that he can in a certain way discover the skills of others and that her skill in diplomacy is beyond imagination, but he cannot determine whether she acted from her heart or used it for a particular end. Lyra rejoices and tells him, I promise you will completely change your mind about her, expressing her feelings for him and admiration for his intelligence, stressing that he will have a bright future. Then she kisses him first, then leaves him and goes on her way, and after a while he returns home while Ash communicates with her through the letters. He shows his attachment to her and seems to have fallen in love with her. Ash and his team then meet with Raven, whose health is deteriorating at a time when he tells them that the governor of Mezan is about to die and that the war will flare up within days. It should be noted that the province to which their village belongs, and more importantly all the villages and cities in the kingdom of Mason, will be divided into two groups. One supports the elder brother, the other supports the younger brother, while Raven believes that the elder brother is to rule, and the elders of the cities are scheduled to hold a meeting soon in which they must attend, but Raven feels exhausted and is gripped by the disease. After a while the governor of Canry sends a letter setting the date for the meeting, and Ash decides to take Rex and Zane and attend the meeting on behalf of his father, and when he arrives in Canary in front of the castle, the soldier who sees the invitation is astonished. A child like you, what brought you here? And after entering the castle the lieutenant governor meets them, and Ash activates the assessment skill and realizes how adept he is at planning and making decisions, and that this deputy was the most suitable place for him. When Ash enters the base of the meeting he finds two city governors, and he feels nervous at first but settles down when the man shows a good side and gives it to him, saying, finally I have grown up and are attending meetings. On the other hand the barrel-like man could not tolerate Ash at all. Then the governor of the city of Canary named Anumar enters to thank them for coming and tells them that they must be fully prepared starting today, as a war will break out in the region within days and they must control it and defend their people, in addition to supporting the elder brother in taking over the affairs of the kingdom of Mezan. Then the meeting ended and we found Governor Anumar standing in front of Ash, reassuring him of Raven's health, saying that he was proud of him and his team and that they would make a big difference on the next battlefield, and then he was gone. But that was not in the presence of the man who could not bear Ash, and I will tell you why. At first he is Lyra's father, and when Ash found out he was shocked, and he said to him, I am wrong because I trusted you. My daughter became depressed because of you, and I sent you messages for several days without showing any interest. and Ash replied I was writing a letter to send her but I had to stop because of the problems that hindered me from my father's illness, wars, meetings and other problems, and the man added Lyra got attached to you a lot so take care of her, then left him and left. When Ash returned home he sat down with Raven to brief him on what had happened at the meeting and he was very proud, and after a while we found Ash and Rex training together, and during the training Rex admitted that Ash is a bit weak, he only has the skill of evaluation and no other because he is very afraid of any fight even if it is only training which he may lose in the next battle. At that moment Zane received a letter from Governor Anumar ordering him to move the soldiers immediately because the neighboring province of Sed began sending soldiers to take control of a city in Mezan province, and we found Ash unable to hold his nerve seemingly frightened beyond imagination. And he gathered the soldiers at the training ground and told them that he would move immediately and that he would be the commander of the battle, but Raven reached them and told him you will not participate in the war and if you want to prove that you are a man ready for combat I will put you to the test now. He ordered the soldiers to bring in a dangerous criminal accused of theft, rape and murder who was sentenced to death and told them that if he could watch the sentence be carried out without losing his temper they would win the battle with him. Indeed the execution began and suddenly the criminal's neck deviated from its course and Ash entered a state of nausea and completely lost his concentration from the scene in front of him so he collapsed on the ground without being able to move, and his father said to him yes this is what I was talking about, the scene of death will surround you from all sides in battle so you cannot come with us teacher, and then he took the soldiers and left. Then the team went to Ash but Raven called out to them saying come with me, and later everyone went to the battlefield where Raven showed remarkable prowess in combat and shot down enemies one by one and Rex joined him while Jade was wreaking havoc in the place with her deadly charm, and Zane returned to present the archers suddenly killing a huge number of enemy soldiers and they won brilliantly. Unfortunately Raven's condition deteriorated sharply until he fainted and the team had to return home immediately. After a while Ash went to check on his father and Rex told him that he was fighting with all his might which negatively affected his health but on the contrary he told him fine, and then upon his awakening he told them that he would go down to the training ground and then he left. If I were brave enough I would have led the soldiers in his place, Rex said to himself blaming himself as if to blame himself, and he continued to receive blows. And at that moment Lyra arrived to check on Ash and Raven and she was very worried. And Rex told her what had happened from the beginning and that Ash felt weak when they went to battle and left them alone in addition to feeling guilty for Raven and taking full responsibility. She didn't know he was on the training ground so she went there to check on him but she found him training with all his strength and yet he would say as long as I'm weak I can't protect the one I love. On the other hand we learned that Raven recovered his health and summoned the whole team saying I don't talk to you as a governor I talk to you as a father and then said Ash is not strong enough to fight any fight and I hope that you will stay by his side until the end and support and protect him. No matter what because I will not talk long, and the team was very moved and they replied okay. When he learned that Lyra was out Ash sent her a letter recommending himself saying despite my abilities I am still very weak but having you by my side will definitely make a difference with me, and Lyra began to cry and told him Ash you do everything to be like your father and more, and I promise you that I will never abandon you, and when asked if she liked Ash she replied yes. At that time Ash suddenly walked in on him carrying several books and herbs saying I have found your cure for your condition but Raven told him I'm fine just sit next to me I want to talk to you a little. And his father said to him when I was your age I used to live a life that did not inherit it. The governor of the village imposed taxes on us by force so I fled to a city where the situation was different and people lived with joy and the ruler was a good and strong person, and this encouraged me to become one of his soldiers, and soon I proved my skills and promoted and I became a private village under my rule and its people knew everything about it so I advised them to preserve and protect it at all costs. At that moment Ash knew that the end was near so he spent the night with his father quietly, and as expected Raven released his last breath and lay in peace, and the people of the village gathered and said goodbye to Ash who wept in sorrow over the separation, but he gathered his nerves and announced to all those present that he would continue his father's journey and that he would protect the village until the last breath of his life. So all the villagers stood with him and supported him on this decision. Zane also cried and remembered how much Raven treated him like a son so that Jade conjured up her memories and how much Raven cared about her and she considered him her father, and everyone was moved but they supported Ash and promised him that they would stay by his side and never abandon him. At that time they declared Ash governor of the village in place of the deceased Raven, and on the other hand Enrollment held a second meeting to mourn Raven's death and install Ash as official governor, and Enrollment then told them the war has actually begun. From here we move to Mezan province where they are currently located and in a constant dispute between the elder brother and the younger brother over assuming power. The region includes a huge number of cities and villages. The younger brother has dominated the north, which appears in sky in front of you, while the elder brother controls the south, which appears in green. However, in one village which is supposed to be an extension point in case the attack on the north began, by the way its name is the village of Bryn, but for some reason they turned against us, so we must join them by force. However, Ash had a different opinion and asked Enrollment to give him a grace period to investigate the matter first before using force. Indeed, Enrollment agreed and sat down with his team, and we know that Zane doubts a very dangerous secret, so he tells Ash we have to gather all the information from inside the village. And Rex asks him very simple, I know a group of mercenaries called the Shadow and we can assign them the task in exchange for money, and Ash was impressed and said okay. The next day we found them walking in the streets, and we know that Ash has established an orphanage of the highest standard, and Jade visits the children there constantly and gives charity with a large part of the care salary of the home. Everyone will be happy with this achievement. Suddenly someone heard him calling Ash, and it turned out that Lyra had come to greet him, and she was very happy with the house and kept playing with the children all day. In the evening Ash sat down with Lyra and they told her that she had to leave because Ash had an appointment with the Shadow mercenary group assigning them one of the missions, and Lyra replied, okay, when do we walk? Ash replied, from now on I'm with you wherever you go, even if you're going to Mars I won't leave you. The next day they took some of them and arrived at a bar in the north of the city to meet the Shadow group, and Rex told them that the old leader of the group had died and that there was a new leader who was said to be stronger than the previous one, so they should be very careful. Finally they arrive at the bar, and when the man tells them that the place is finished, Rex tells him the password and he is allowed to enter, and we notice how dangerous the place is, and Ash said sure their leader has the highest abilities, and he activated the evaluation skill on him but he couldn't determine. Suddenly a girl came and said to them, what are you drinking? And Ash was surprised and said to himself, this is higher than the highest skills I have seen in my life. He is the leader of the Shadow group. So Ash paid attention and stood to wash his face to reduce his tension, and suddenly he was fixed in the room. Then the leader of the Shadow appeared as a boy at the end and said to him, how did you know I was the leader of the group despite all the disguise? Suddenly the Shadow commander's dagger was hit and Rex intervened to save Ash at the last minute. And Lyra walked in saying, I think that after you are exposed you should carry out Ash's mission completely. The Shadow commander smiled and said, I have a second plan. I can eliminate you all without anyone noticing. And Rex replied, simple, uncle, in front of you it's over, it's already difficult for us and he wants us to get rid of it. The commander said, I first want to know how Ash revealed me, and that's when they learned that Ash had the skill of evaluation and therefore was able to detect him easily. Lyra also learned from Ash that this was the leader, and when she was afraid she informed Rex of it. When asked to gather information about the village of Bryn, the commander said, very simple, in exactly 5 days I will gather all the information about this village for you. And Ash was impressed, and 5 days later Ash and Rex went to the leader whose name we know was X, and he said to him, well, you've done the job. They learned that he not only did the job personally but also managed to obtain a very dangerous document from inside the governor's house, and he told them, and when Ash opened it he found that it bore the seals of the cities and villages supporting the younger brother. Look to the right, said X, and Ash and Rex were amazed. As this was the seal of Masa, our biggest ally, and their presence with us would completely determine the fate of the war, as Masa has the greatest power in the region, which means that Masa is betraying them, and therefore the village of Bryn refused to join Big Brother. Of course, if soldiers are sent to the village, the city of Masa will strike a fatal blow against them and the massacre will begin. At the same time, thanking X for his effort, he took Rex and Zane and went to Enrollment and handed him the document, and they read the story and found out that they had been betrayed. And Enrollment then saluted Ash for his intelligence and tremendous effort and handed the document to his deputy. Suddenly the deputy said that the document was genuine and all the seals were original except for the stamp of Masa, as an old stamp belonging to the city of Masa came and compared them, and they concluded that the younger brother had deceived the governor of the village of Bryn to join him. The biggest surprise was that that village contains explosive stones, and these stones possess a destructive power beyond imagination. Here Zane told them that the village of Bryn should know that they had been deceived. The village governor asked, but how? And Zane replied, easily, it's very simple. After some time we found Ash accompanied by 2 representatives before the governor of Bryn, who stated that the village of Raven wanted to announce its joining the younger brother because they heard that the city of Masa had joined him. And that it was not important who won the government, they ensure an alliance with the strongest. The governor of Bryn replied, that's good even though you're young but you're very competent, and Ash asked, are you sure that Masa has already joined the younger brother, and the governor hesitated and doubted, asking to order the soldiers to attack them. Suddenly Rex intervened and Ash told the governor, wait a minute, I'll check if Masa really joined the younger brother. We go back with a flashback where we learned that Zane had taken Ash and they went to Masa where they met the governor, also known as Kim. They discovered that his seal was being forged and Kim came angry with them and said, I'll come with you, that's enough. Then we returned and Kim confirmed that the seal was forged and that it was impossible for him to join the younger brother at all and threatened the governor of Bryn from the heart of his palace, saying, but Ash intervened, although I made a mistake, you have a chance to prove your loyalty, prevent the export of explosive stones and declare that you will join us immediately. After some time we found Ash standing at Raven's grave telling him what had happened in detail. I missed you so much and I will never disappoint you, and Zane and Rex then arrived to check on him and Ash said to them, without you I wouldn't have been able to do anything, thank you. They were surprised by the presence of Anumir who was visiting his friend Raven, and he informed Ash that the older brother whose name was Dan had heard what you had done and demanded to meet you as well, and Ash was confused and nervous, but suddenly his friends came to encourage him so he regained his courage and said okay. Later Ash and Rex and Zane took a car and drove to Dan Castle, and they learned that King Dan held a large ceremony that brought together all the rulers of the towns and villages of the province, and Ash reached the limits of the castle and the place was wonderful, and as he entered everyone looked at him in amazement because he was a young man. And Ash was very confused, but suddenly he found Anumir welcoming him and rushed to him and greeted him, and Anumir began introducing Ash to the people. As the governor of the village of Raven, and Ash regained his self-confidence and some of his joy. Meanwhile everyone stopped because King Dan went out to receive them. Then Dan came out and he was so luxurious, and when Ash put the assessment skill on him he said, how can these abilities be higher than the highest abilities I've ever seen, and Dan then welcomes them and gives a motivational speech to the rulers telling them that he will declare man an independent kingdom after winning the war against his brother Mark Jr., and everyone encouraged him to do so. Suddenly King Dan called out to Ash and said, come by my side here, and Ash was a little confused but his friends pushed him towards him, and when the king approached he thanked him very much and praised his mighty intelligence and his ability to discover the deception of his brother Mark the Little, and asked everyone to applaud him for the achievement he had achieved. Soon after Ash merged with those present, but when he felt tired he went out to refresh himself in calm air on his own, and at that moment someone spoke to him and suddenly it turned out to be King Dan, and Ash trembled in fear, told him, don't worry, I want to talk to you a little because I know you have a strange ability to discover other people's skills, so I would like to ask you about the abilities of my allies. Ash thought a little, and since he used the skill of evaluation on the wise without making mistakes, he said their abilities do not even reach the level of soldiers, they are very weak, and Dan replied, he lived on you, I know they're very loyal but none of them has a special ability at all, I'm going to borrow one of your team members, and Ash Dan asked, what speech made me join your brother? I'm kidding you, but I want to tell you that we have a strong army and abundant financial resources, but we lack the skills that you and your team have. You are a great addition to us, Dan replied. Then he said if only I could find a talented person, bring him to me personally. The surprise was that he intended to appoint him as president of the city of Canary, which is of Anumir origin, and of course Anumir would retain a greater position in the kingdom. I'm confident in you and your team, Dan stressed, then said goodbye to Ash and walked. Shortly after, Ash and Rex were found at the Shadow Chief, and there Ash asked the Shadow Chief to look for highly skilled people with them, saying if you help me ask for whatever you want, and the Shadow Boss agreed, and it took a while for a woman in a difficult situation to beat the Shadow Boss. When he told her they were closed, she explained that she did not intend to stay with them but was looking for work. One of the gang members came out screaming at her and wanting to get her out, but the Shadow leader acted wisely. He sat down with her and gave her food. On the other hand, the woman identified herself as Mara and said, I tell you, I was working with the governor of Mesa province before he died, and when conflict broke out between his sons he left them and walked, and the Shadow leader replied, you came at the right time. Then the scene moved to Ash and suddenly a maid entered on him and told him that someone was waiting for him outside, and when he went out he found the leader of the Shadow standing in front of him with Mara, and he said to him, I have brought you your request, sir, and Rex told Ash, are you sure she's talented? Don't go back behind me, the Shadow Boss replied, then left them and walked. When Ash activated the evaluation skill on her he said, I would love to tell you that I was shocked by her level, Mara, her abilities exceed the level of creativity and arguably a little smarter than Zane, and her diplomatic skills are higher than Lyra either. She is a combination of strength, intelligence and cunning. Then he asked her, "Are you going to work with us?" And Rex replied she refuses, especially after we learned that she was an advisor to the governor of Mezan before his death, and Rex added, "I have heard dangerous talk about her. In addition to that, she has a younger brother who is the right-hand shield of King Dan's brother, and she is easily able to convey their news." Elsewhere, Mara said, "You are stupid and exactly the same thinking as my brother. Tell me, what are you going to do? Will you work with me or am I looking for work elsewhere?" And Ash thoughtlessly told her congratulations, and then brought her into his team, while the rest of the team was completely opposed to her being with them. Shortly after, Rex opened the door to Ash and told him, "I have crossed the line," and Zane would enter crying for Mara, who had been sleeping all day, and when she was bored she would come down to make fun of them in the training ground, and Zane was deeply insulted as Mara took him to a remote location and ran after the dogs without anyone knowing why. Suddenly they heard a terrifying explosion shaking the entire place, so the soldiers prepared for a possible attack on the village, but the situation was that Mara and Jade were standing still. Mara was betting on who would destroy the place first. Everyone noticed that they wanted to kick her out quickly, but Ash announced to them that she would prove her efficiency, and Mara said, "I have an idea, let's make a challenge between us, and if I lose I promise I'll leave," took the word seriously and said, "Let's get started." And Ash gathered the soldiers and explained that they would be divided into two groups, the first group with Mara as commander and the second group with Zane as commander. They will use training swords to fight a mock battle. If the commander is injured or the enemy group is completely wiped out, they will achieve victory while preventing Jade from using her magic. Ash also distributed explosive balls to ensure no one was injured. He asked who will join Mara with me, and no one wanted to go with them, and then Mara said the score was tied, so they sent a group of junior soldiers to avoid superiority on either side. The soldiers prepared to move into the forest and everyone was watching what was going to happen, and Ash said to Mara, "What do we do with Rex and Jade?" And Mara replied that she had a plan and looked at the soldiers and said, "In principle we will lose, but that is if I am not with you, loved ones." She began to explain her plan while Rex explained to the soldiers, "Mara's team is very weak and they probably set a trap for us, so we will divide into two groups. I'm in front, Zane is in the second set and will be behind us in support. If the enemy attacks them, use blasts immediately and we'll get back to you with good news," and everyone replied okay. The plan began to be implemented, but suddenly they heard an explosion from the front, so they went there surprised when a member of Mara's team appeared from among the trees saying, "Please take me with you on your team and I promise to tell you their plan." "Okay," Rex replied, revealing the plan, saying Mara expected them to be divided into two groups. Then they heard an explosion from the side of the palace as if a real attack was going to happen on them, which means that when they return to the palace they will be locked there and Zane will be in an easy trap. Rex said, "Ash can't agree to that, you seem to be lying to us." The person replied, "Yes, I'm a liar. Mara asked me to set a trap for you, and then said I'll tell you the right plan." He opened a map referring to the location of the ambush prepared by Mara. He said, "As soon as you reach that point the soldiers will attack you from both sides, and as soon as you get there I will use the explosive ball with me, although I will not do that, and they will be surprised by the attack that will eliminate them." Rex took the explosive ball from him and made the soldiers search for it, and another explosive ball appeared from them, and the one who was with him was carrying the phantom explosive ball. While he was going to use the real ball to carry out Mara's attack, will turn behind them and surprise them to finish them off. Rex told the soldiers, revealing Mara's plan. They reached the soldiers' position and gathered from behind to attack them with foolish effort, but it turned out to be an ambush hidden inside Mara's ambush, and Mara went out and Ash was with her looking at one of her soldiers saying, "Long live on you." Then Rex told her, "I don't understand anything anymore. Where did your soldiers go? In any case, if we eliminate Ash I will declare victory." And Rex turned completely while Mara picked up Ash and dragged him. And Rex and the soldiers ran after her and Ash shouted, "Rex, hold them." Suddenly the trap set for them worked and the soldiers fell one by one. Rex too fell into a trap and then got up and continued running after them until Rex saw nothing in front of him. Mara told Ash, "You'll be even more happy when you do what I told you," and Ash started throwing balls at them, and in a moment of loud explosion the area was devastated. "Have you seen anything like that, my friend?" On the other hand, Mara's team discovered Zane's whereabouts and pointed to him, and Zane informed his team that there were few soldiers and that they would be able to eliminate them easily, but the rest of the soldiers appeared from all directions and surrounded them, which meant that Mara faced Rex and his team alone. At that moment Jade took Zane and quickly fled while the soldiers set off behind them. The situation returned to Mara, who seemed very happy and told Ash we won. She continued, look, Jade has fallen and Zane is trying to escape, but the soldiers force him to go in the same direction as Mara, and Zane is only 2 steps away until he meets Mara, as she was already targeting him. Suddenly Rex discovered her plan and told her it's impossible to get to Zane, and Mara replied, don't worry, he's going to get to us now. Then Rex tried with all his might to eliminate Ash while Zane was on Mara's goal, and suddenly Rex hit 2-second explosive balls. Dust filled the place and everyone gathered waiting for the decisive moment. Indeed, Mara won and Mara's team came home celebrating their victory while Rex's face and disappointment pervaded his team. However, Rex said, despite the weakness of our teams, you won brilliantly, and Ash then apologized with Zane to Mara and they welcomed her into the team. And Mara explained that if there had been a real battle she would not have had a chance to win because Jade did not use her abilities and Rex was he fights against Ash and not on his side. Ash thanked her, saying you're lucky to have been able to assemble such a team, and then asked what's your next step, and Mara replied, very simple, strive with all your might to become emperor, that is to rule all the provinces. Suddenly Ash recalled Raven's words and said to himself, I'm sure you're going to be a very great figure in the future. Afterwards they had a big party celebrating Mara officially joining the team and everyone was happy. Suddenly Rex approached Ash and said, I'm really sorry, I disappointed you and broke my promise with Raven. I feel like I won't be able to protect you as I thought. And Ash replied, you did what you had to do and it increased, but the road is long and I need you with me. On the other hand, Zane thanked Mara, saying, I understand why you were beating me while running. And Mara replied, being smart doesn't mean you're going to survive on the battlefield. Battle needs competencies other than intelligence, and if someone falls in your position during the fight a lot of soldiers will perish behind them, so next time I'll train you and make Jade attack you with her magic. After a little time Ash found himself alone in the room until the maid came in informing him of the existence of a letter from King Dan asking to attend the last meeting before the decisive battle with the need to bring the whole team and get ready to go. Will Ash be able to fight the war without bloodshed as he wants? And what happens next? Events seem to be coming at the doors. This is the end of the part we're showing now.